Pony Tales. Read by Scribbler. Plush Hour by Imaginary Valued. Spike the Dragon was an individual of great triumphs and many talents. He was known for being the lifelong friend and #1 assistant to Equestria's one and only Princess of Friendship, Twilight Sparkle. He was a gentle drake of the noble dragon creed, champion to pretty fashionistas and baby phoenixes everywhere. He was recognized for his deeds during the battle that was now known as the Siege of Canterlot, Invasion of the Mutant Cockatrice, for which he was awarded the Medal of Valor. He was renowned as Great and Honorable, Spike the Brave and Glorious throughout the Crystal Empire. He was even the runner-up for last month's March Muffin Muncher competition. He would have won, too, if first-place winner Derpy hadn't allegedly dropped a kitchen sink on him by accident and devoured his portion of the contest muffins in the ensuing commotion. There was little doubt in his mind that he was the most dragonly baby dragon in Ponyville, if not all the wide, wide world of Equestria. In short, he felt completely secure in his dragonliness and saw no reason to feel embarrassed for his current choice of pastime. Well, as long as no pony saw him anyway.
"More tea, m'lady?"
Spike said, unconvincingly mimicking the deep bass of famous R&B artist White Berry as he gestured to his exalted guest, a stuffed white unicorn pony replica with pristine blue buttons for eyes and curly shears of violet yarn for the hair and tail.
"Why, thank you, dear. How very courteous of you," the
unmoving doll seemed to say, her reply greatly fabricated by an amateurish display of ventriloquism. Having granted himself permission, Spike leaned over the round tabletop and filled the porcelain cup placed before the little inanimate pony. After settling the pot back on the pink, scalloped centerpiece, he wagged his brows at his lovely company with a toothy grin.
"You're a beautiful sight for sore eyes, as always."
The pony doll seemed to emit after the dragon gave it the appropriate body language by folding a foreleg across its bulbous muzzle.
"Oh, I bet you say that to all the mares. But do go on." "I must say, your fabulous mane does appear to be extra fabulous today. Did you change shampoos?" "Why, yes," the doll exclaimed, being made to brush through its mane with a hoof. "I've recently upgraded to a main expensive brand. I'm impressed, but not even Fluttershy noticed."
Spike buffed the back of his claws against the scale of his shoulder with a smug little grin.
"What can I say? I've got the eye of a dragon."
The mini pony bobbed about for a bit, as though overcome with laughter.
"Oh, darling, you certainly know how to keep a lady in stitches."
After holding the pose for several more moments, Spike spluttered in a generous quantity of spittle, slapping his knee as his body contracted from the guffaws. Still laughing, he picked up the little doll and gave it a hug. Who knew acting out a bit of pretend like a silly pony could be rather fun? He was beginning to see why Twilight played with her Smarty Pants doll the same way when they were younger. Then again, he probably wouldn't be having fun if it weren't for the little gem, so to speak, he was nuzzling against right now. Unlike the precious stones he routinely unearthed from Rumbling Rock Ridge, this particular fluffy little number instead came from Fluttershy's home, of all places. It happened right before Twilight started suffering from her castleophobia, when he had been helping out with looking after a large group of forest critters that were driven out of their dwellings. The cause had been a young hydra that had ventured beyond its territory at the Froggy Bottom Bog and stumbled into the rest of the Everfree Forest, terrifying the various woodland creatures that lived there. As was usually the case, the animals ended up seeking aid from the kind Fluttershy in droves. Twilight and the others naturally caught wind of the situation, and, being the courageous ponies that they were more than willing to lend a dozen helping hooves. As for Spike, being the tactful dragon that he was, he figured the best way to minimize the chances of getting an express tour of a Hydra's digestive system was to not be near one in the first place. With that in mind, he had sprightly volunteered to stay behind to assist Fluttershy in tending to the displaced critters while the others went ahead to their monstrous hunting mission. During Spike's task with distributing the food rations, a rambunctious raccoon that wasn't quite in the sharing mood decided to live up to its stereotype and, in one dastardly quick attack, blindsided the dragon, making off with the entire basketful of sweets and treats he was entrusted with. He wasn't about to let some shifty raccoon get the best of him, of course, and had promptly chased after the furry crook all over the place, the voice of a surprised and concerned Fluttershy calling after him to be careful. Just when it seemed the criminal was about to evade justice, Spike, in what was probably a once-in-a-lifetime moment, nabbed the little rogue with a diving tackle maneuver that would have undoubtedly earned a big, teary
Yup.
of approval from fellow hoofball fan Big Macintosh, had the stallion been there to bear witness. The dragon of law and order had been just about to bring the little troublemaker back for a well-deserved scolding from Fluttershy when he noticed that the stirring pursuit had led him right next to the wooden shed located behind the cottage. He had wondered about the contents of that simple outbuilding in the past. Common sense told him that it was probably used as storage, just like any average shed would be. But for some unexplained reason, his imagination instead conjured gruesome images of a dark dungeon lined with the dissected remains of victims at the hooves of a psychotic serial killer. He felt silly for even entertaining the notion. Still, unable to resist his morbid curiosity, Spike had decided to take a peep, just to be sure, his heart pounding in anticipation of something macabre like a decorative toaster made out of a pony. What he actually found was significantly less diabolical, but still unexpected. There were loads of stuffed toys, ranging from tiny adorable gerbils to giant huggable pandas lining the walls and arranged on shelves and crates and tables. It was like he had stumbled into a secret toys cache or some sort of plushy internment camp. What really caught his attention, though, was the conspicuous batch of cute pony dolls placed within an opened trunk at the center of the room. They were not just your average stuffed pony toys of nondescript designs, however. Each one was unmistakably modeled after traits of very recognizable ponies. Namely, every one of his friends, in addition to many familiar faces from around town. A worried Fluttershy had come rushing in soon after. Once she had made sure that no pony was hurt, the mare became visibly anxious with Spike's continued presence, especially when he looked closely at the yellow Pegasus plushie squeezed between a doll resembling a big red stallion and another one of a large white Pegasus with diminutive wings, and timidly tried to coax him into leaving. The young dragon had been too fascinated to be deterred, and instead excitedly asked where she got all the toys from. It turned out every fluffy piece around them had actually been personally stitched and woven together from scratch by Fluttershy herself. The Pegasus explained that she had been making them ever since she was a filly, using the art of needlework she had learned from her nana. It was how her freaky knowledge of sewing originated, as a matter of fact. She had made the dolls as a means to cope with her loneliness and debilitating shyness, modelling them after the creatures and ponies she wished she could befriend in real life. Rainbow Dash was the first pony she had designed a doll after, for example. Fortunately for young Fluttershy, with time came good fortune in the form of a butterfly cutie mark and the glorious light that was the magic of friendship. With real life increasingly engaging and fulfilling, she naturally began to cease productions, but could never bring herself to fully sever the thread and part with her childhood creations. Hence the shed. She admitted that a childish part of her wanted to think that there was a bit of magic in the plush doll she made, that one of the reasons they were all friends and would remain so indefinitely was in some way due to her unknown efforts. Her short backstory finished, Fluttershy then nervously asked Spike if he thought her silly and weird for her naivete. The dragon had quickly reassured her that it was not the case at all, praising her craftsmanship and the sentiments behind it. Elated at the dragon's kind response, the two friends shared a warm hug. He had then encouraged her to not stow away, but instead share the stuffed fruits of her talent and labour with those who might need or appreciate them. She had readily agreed, and, with a knowing wink, bestowed upon him the plushie of a certain white unicorn. And that was how Spike came into possession of his new, cute, special sun plushie, who was responsible for making naps and lazy afternoons all the more enjoyable. His brief reverie over, Spike turned to the clock and saw that it was almost time for his weekly deluxe bath. Hopping away from the tea set, he grabbed a clear, oval bubble bath bottle from a drawer and strolled out of the room with his plushie in tow, whistling a casual tune. On the way to the luxurious castle bathroom with an awesome large tub, a nagging thought poked at Spike, and he couldn't help but stop by Twilight's room. One of the many perks of living in a castle, besides the potential real estate value, was the ample space that allowed him and Twilight to have their individual rooms, a living arrangement that was discontinued since early childhood when the two of them became nearly inseparable best friends. Said best friend was currently holed up in her new room, having probably dozed off at some point with her face planted in a good book, as she often did. What concerned him was, even though Twilight had eased into the magical duties of a princess, the same couldn't quite be said for the physical aspect of being an alicorn. Her wings would still occasionally gain a mind of their own in the middle of the night, springing out unprompted and flinging blankets and ruffling bedsheets awry in the process. One quick peek inside the room confirmed his suspicions. Twilight's snoring form could be seen, while her wool blanket had been flung into a heap on the floor. With a wry grin and a roll of his eyes, Spike crept into the room, tiptoeing his way over. He smiled as he saw many familiar stuffed pieces, once hidden away, now sitting about on the princess-sized bed. Just as Spike was about to make sure the sleeping book pony was kept warm, his eyes widened considerably at what he saw, dropping the blanket once again to the ground in a heavy thump. The whoomp bestirred the pony princess, who slowly awakened.
Spike?
She blearily uttered, rubbing at her eyes as she sat up.
What are you doing in here? Has something happened? And what's up with your face?
Twilight groggily regarded Spike's look of dumbfounded shock. After a beat, she looked down at herself, then observed her sleeping arrangements, before returning to examine the dragon's expression with a beady stare. After a long moment of lagged contemplation, her eyes flew wide open, snapping out of her sleepy stupor.
Spike! This isn't what it looks like.
It was exactly what it looked like. Twilight was inexplicably dressed in her human form's schoolgirl attire, short skirt and undergarment and all, now altered to fit her alicorn body. That alone raised enough questions, but the clincher was the full body pillow decorated with the likeness of human Flash Sentry in a questionable state of undress lying next to her. Near perfectly still, Spike eyeballed the mare quizzically. Twilight began to gesticulate frantically, explaining that it was a misunderstanding and they were all just gifts, albeit by commission, from Fluttershy, and that she was intrigued and just wanted to measure the effectiveness of the so-called Huggy pillows as sleeping aids for sleep science, and that the erotic portrait of a certain interspecies romantic interest in her outfit were there as positive controls to ensure immersion quality for the experiment. With the motor control of a master surgeon, Spike backed away slowly. Twilight eventually faltered when she realized that her defense testimony fell on deaf ears, and the sole juror's expression remained rigidly aghast. Lips quivering and eyes moistening, the mare dropped to the floor and curled into a mound of flustered pony. Spike's gawking softened down to a look of empathy upon realizing just how mortified Twilight was. He hadn't seen her like that, face buried under forelimbs and her bottom sticking up like some sort of giant mutant skirt-wearing purple radish, aside from her sunshine dances with Cadence, or that one time when she misquoted Starswell's second law of thermodynamics during magic physics class. Twilight, despite her impressive growth, both as an individual and as a princess of Equestria, still couldn't quite handle perceived embarrassment well. While he could do well without having the mental image of the pony who was essentially his BSBFF, wearing a skirt and spooning a questionable body pillow in her sleep, filed into his long-term memory bank, He didn't mean for her to feel as though his opinion of her had changed for the worse. He was just caught off guard. Spike racked his dragon brain for some way to denigrate the situation.
Well, I can see why his name is Flash.
No, that would just make things more awkward.
So you were at Pinkie Pie's yard sale too?
No, that didn't make any sense.
I say thee nay!
He really should start reading actual literature. Then, in a stroke of genius that a certain seamstress undoubtedly would have been proud of, a vividly superb thought flashed through his mind like a glowing lighthouse in a dark storm.
Idea!
Spike sing-songed, emulating the fashionista in her own moments of brilliance, and reached into his scales for the necessary tools to enact his plan. Before long, the still unmoving Twilight felt her horn being poked at. With the same enthusiasm one would experience when confronting the Grim Reaper or a cake-deprived Celestia, Twilight peeked out from the gap between her forelegs. What she saw made her eyes widen like saucers. There, standing at the epicenter of the large room, was Spike. But not just regular old Spike. It was Equestria's dragonliest baby dragon, decked out in a top hat, a black velvet cape, a jewel-encrusted bow tie, and a thick, bushy handlebar mustache. Tucked under one arm was the Rarity plushie, somehow all dolled up in a little black dress. Her previous embarrassment forgotten, Twilight sat up, rapidly blinking and gaping like a ponyfish. Before the mare could utter a single coherent word in reaction, the lights in the room dimmed, and a golden spotlight beamed down upon the dragon and his fluffy partner. Off to the side, a phonograph was activated by an unseen force, and shortly started to play. Then, Spike began to dance. With Mini Rarity in claw, Spike swept across the room and started tripping the light fantastic. They waltzed, they tangoed, they boogied the woogie, and hatched the cabbage patch. They jigged the jive, and they jived the jig. In spite of having the dancing graces of a paraplegic swan, Twilight could still recognize an affront to the performing arts when she saw one. And yet, with each intermittent change of the song and dance, she couldn't quite stop her smile from stretching wider by the second. As the music accompaniment came to a halt, Spike ended the show with a flourishing dip and eagerly awaited his applause, which Twilight did not hesitate to oblige. In a spur of theatrics, he then planted a loud, sloppy kiss right on the tip of his dance partner's muzzle, causing the sole audience's eyes to go wide and her sniggering to renew. As her irrepressible laughter finally simmered down, Twilight brushed away the tears in her eyes and held out her right foreleg. Smiling widely, he set the plushie down and made his way over to the princess, accepting the proffered gesture. A hearty hoof-to-claw shake was dealt, and thus the unspoken age-old armistice was struck. I won't say anything if you don't. Their already unbreakable bond further strengthened by the addition of yet another strong connection, this time in the form of mutually assured humiliation, the pony princess and noble dragon shared a warm embrace of familial camaraderie. And as Twilight's soft, bell-like giggles drifted down to his ears, Spike knew that everything was once again right as rain. She gave a gentle squeeze.
That was one of the creepiest things I have ever seen.
He beamed.
I know.
That was Plush Hour. It was written by Imaginary Valued and read by Scribbler with special guest voice actress Rarity Fangirl 31 as the voice of Spike. Okay, thank you very much for listening. It's slightly late with this fic. That is because I was working on the trailer for Awoken, which is now live. I've been working on that one for a better part of a week because video editing is not my forte. And so unfortunately this fic was kind of put on hold for a little bit. This fic is also the first of its kind. This is a Patreon request fic. It was a request by the one Ryu, who requested something Sparity or off his playlist, and I picked this little semi-Sparity comedy. There's also a little bit of flashlight in there, so I approve of that. And I hope that he likes it. I hope everybody else who listened to it liked it. It's been a while since I've done a comedy. I hope he liked it. I hope everybody else liked it. This is going to be the last comedy for a while, because if you have seen the Awoken trailer, you will know that as of next... because if you have seen the... Because I can't talk. If you have seen the Awoken trailer, you will know that for the next month, I am going to be doing a 5-part special of the reading of Awoken. Funny that, I took all the Awoken trailer and then the fixed call Awoken. Woohoo. Go on your Scribbler, spouting rubbish again. Carrying on. It is the sequel, sort of officially, unofficially endorsed sequel to Rainbow Factory, and is written by Synergy, mostly. I have, in fact, added about 6,000 words to this thing, hence it is now big enough to become a 5-parter. So it's written by Synergy and me. So this version doesn't exist anywhere else but on my channel, and it will have a full cast reading starting, hopefully, the first weekend of October. I will also be putting out Halloween and Nightmare Night themed, dark themed as well, comic dubs throughout the month. I've already got a couple of those edited and ready to go. This is all in aid of something called the Month of Macabre, which is something that, in Fanfic Readers Chat on Skype, we put it together that last year we kind of all did some kind of Halloween special. And in February, the sharp-eyed amongst you might have noticed we did a month-long thing called Month of Lurv, where we all did romance fics. And we decided to sort of combine the two and make a month-long dark special to do with Halloween and things that go bump in the night and creatures of darkness. And so we've got the Month of Macabre. Now, Month of Macabre isn't actually just for fanfic readers. We've also got comic dubbers like Gina M and Rarity Fangirl31, who played Spike here. They've signed up for it. Black Irish Balloon is doing some stuff for it, and various other people wanted to get involved. If you would like to get involved with Month of Macabre, ping me a message and we'll see what we can do. I will put the sign-up sheet in the doobly-doo, the description of this video. Do check that the thing you want to do has not already been claimed by someone else, because the reason why we have this sign-up sheet is so that there is no double claiming of things. Because if we're going to put together a month-long special, then we want it to be special, and so each of us has claimed something different. So pop your names down if you would like to participate, give a link to what you're going to do, and make sure that you put the ident on the front so we know it's Month of Macabre, and then I will put it in the playlist for you if you ping me. Ping me, that sounds rude. Moving on. So, on to fan art. I had these a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately I didn't have time to put them in last week's, actually over a week ago, last week's fic reading. The first is Obab Scribbler, and it's by somebody called Miffy Bunny. It's a wonderful name. Miffy Bunny! It is the kind of name that demands to be said in a certain fashion, so Miffy Bunny has sent me this wonderful one of me reading a book against a backdrop of a giant sunset, or a big coin out of Batman's Batcave. Total geek points, if you understand that. Thank you very much, Miffy Bunny. I also got this one, which is Obab Scribbler by Pixel Lover 221. And it's all shiny. I love it when I'm shiny. Shiny. I look clean when I'm shiny. Clean and shiny and smooth and lovely. Thank you very much. That's really, really pretty. And finally this week I have one called Puppygram, and it was commissioned by Goody Serenade, but actually drawn by Shadowring, with whom I've collaborated with both these people before, and it was when I was having a rough time with work and real life and all sorts of shit. And Goody commissioned this because I have long since said that happiness is a warm puppy. So in relation to that, he commissioned this of a puppygram arriving and me being pelted with warm puppies, which is adorable. Anybody knows me on Skype, this has been my Skype picture for a while. Because puppies! Puppy! All the puppies! All the puppies! I love the puppies. Puppy! So thank you very much, Goody. It is entirely possible I shouldn't have had that cup of coffee before recording. Just a thought. Now, regarding the week ahead, I am going to be coming out with a couple of videos, hopefully this week, if I can get them all edited in time, and also working on Awoken. Hopefully this week I'll be bringing out a couple of videos that are asking for things from my viewers. Now, this is not me exacting things from you, saying, "Oi, you, give me stuff or I'll stop uploading videos." This is not a ransoming thing. Thank you very much, Suki. I'm going to have to make this relatively short because Suki has just farted, and the room will soon fill up with green gas and I will die, so I need to vacate rather quickly. Yes, there'll be a video coming out that is asking my fans and people who are interested in collaborating with me something in particular. So keep your eyes out for that. Also this week, one of the comics that I dubbed a while ago called Vendetta with Kate Bug, which is about Celestia and Luna getting back at Diamond Tiara for the whole Gabby Gums fiasco. It's been animated! I mean, how amazing is that? A comic dub that I did has got an actual video animation of it. Oh my god! So I'm gonna link it here in the video and in the doobly-doo below if I am too technically inept to get the video to work. So yes, go watch it. It's amazing. Woohoo! And many thanks this week go to my patrons Dawn Holland, Quill and Lead, Red Tiger, Limey Pony, Ian Jensen, Shining Tevos Star, Marcus, Stephen Knight. Well done for the rally thing, by the way, I forgot to tell you earlier. The One Ryu, you can thank him for this fic. Mystic Mystery, Andrew, Xena, Starlight Stream, Mad Curse, Thought Police and Spies, who continue to have an amazing name, Ask Nightmare Luna, Ilya Leonov, Houston Russell, Sturdy Solus, Norman, Scout Charger, Klaus Hyde, Peregrine Caged, Greg F, and Ed Arthur. Thank you very much, everybody. You are amazing people. And with that, I bid you adieu. Be lovely to each other, and good night, everybody.